Good evening, friends. I know for many of you would have come as a surprise that how come I'm in front of you. So let me be very honest with you. Today webinar was scheduled for only our PMS customer. But our customer care department did say that Sunil Bhai is not there throughout the week. Where is he? And I thought let me do it for everyone. And the reason was very simple. They wanted to understand how do we interpret RBI reduction in the GDP growth, which was announced today, the tariff war, and I thought it's unfair on my part if I don't come to the larger section of our members, which includes Markets Mojo also. So we change from exclusive webinar only for the PMS customer to everyone, and that's the why. And I think you would have received this invite in less than 60 minutes. So the idea was that because again tomorrow is a bank holiday, markets are closed. Friday we have a stock of the month. Mohit is going live. Monday is a Baba Saheb Ambedkar Jayanti. Again it's a market holiday. Then we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And Thursday I'll be in front of our PMS customers because Thursday is reserved only for PMS customers. So with this, I'm going to cover very interesting two major events. Okay. Some cues from the RBI monetary policy which was announced today. How one should read that. And second thing, tariff war. You must be aware, and you are all aware, that US imposed heavy tariff on China, additional. And today, tit for tat, China did on US. So my sense is that US market would be in a negative as I speak to you. So, okay, it's not, it started, 0.28, it's okay, so it's there, okay. So, I'll also cover what implication it has and how each country, how are they navigating this uncertain time. But before I begin this webinar, just a disclaimer that this webinar is only to enhance your understanding about the equity market. Please consult your financial advisor before buying and selling stock. Past performance no indicator of future returns, and investment in securities market are subject to market risk. So let me begin. If you remember, in the beginning of 2025, we came out with the equity outlook. In that presentation, well, the whole world was believing that there will not be any rate cut purely because rupee was coming under pressure. We said we should expect 3 rate cuts, with first rate cut starting from Feb. That happened in the month of Feb. Another rate cut has come today of 25 bips. Our total assumption is 75 bips. And when you listen to the experts today, people are expecting 2 more rate cuts of 25 bips each. In other words, while we had predicted 75 bips, the market is now budgeting for 100 bips, which was not the case. And our model was suggesting us that yes, we should expect 3 rate cuts. In fact, I went to IIM Lucknow and there was a panel discussion that was happening with some of the market stalwarts, and I was one of the participants where one economist was there, another fund manager was there, and they were of the opinion that we should not expect any rate cuts. And there also I mentioned very loud and clear, we should expect rate cuts in the Feb and one more and 2 more in the rest of 2025. So now rate cut has come down to 6%. With this repo rate has come down to 6%. What is beautiful thing about this rate cut is this decision was anonymous amongst all the MPC members. And I want to focus on that anonymous because normally what used to happen, there were some people who were in favor of rate cut, there are some people who were not in favor of rate cut. And due to that, the majority wins, and that's how the rate cut used to get announced. But this time everyone is on the same page. And one reason to cut the rate of interest is not because they are worried about the inflation. I'll cover that also in my present on inflation. I think the one big concern coming in growth. And RBI governor admits it's extremely difficult to figure it out what the implication of this tariff war. It's a very developing story. Today, our External Affairs Minister also made a very similar statement. It's extremely difficult to quantify the impact on India, forget about the world, of this tariff, because it's not a very simple equation called 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 or 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. So RBI has given a clear-cut indication. If you read the monetary policy today, very loud and clear, whatever needs to be done would be done to help economy to navigate this tariff war. This is the message, I got it when I went through that. बहुत simple उसने बताया है. What you should expect. In fact, some banks have already cut the rate of interest. Your housing loan, it has not happened with the first rate cut. It has not been passed on, but now we should see the pass on. The transmission of rates have not happened in the first rate cut. Now we should expect. The home loan should get cheaper. Auto loan should get cheaper. Some of the consumer loans and so on and so forth should get cheaper, which will help spur the consumption. Your 1 lakh crore is coming from this month, that is tax rebate. And top of it, government is going to spend about 14% higher than what they spent last year, total capex, including grant in aid and state whatever capex. We are looking at so two sides of engine we are looking at firing, consumption and capex cycle. And due to that, there is and of course there is a headwinds in the form of global uncertainty. And I think RBI governor made very loud and clear in his speech about the global uncertainty. This is the repo rate trajectory. We were at 4 and then we are now at 6. But if you look at somewhere 17, 18, we were still at 6.5. I think somewhere 6.5% seems to be like a top that seems to have been formed. Now coming to the inflation. The RBI is clearly now get a handle on that inflation will remain very close to its target of 4%, plus or minus 2. That's what the RBI target. Why? And it looks more certain. So every time you read the monetary policy, there was always some doubt in the RBI's mind about the inflation. But this time, RBI seems to be more certain that we will have 4% inflation. And they've given the breakup of that. 3.6% for the first quarter of FY 2026, 3.9 in the second quarter, 3.8 in the third quarter, and 4.4 at the fourth quarter. And when you take an average of all, it says 4%. So RBI right now looks more certain, and one of the baseline assumptions that has been made by RBI that monsoon would be normal. We all know that SkyMet yesterday came out with the prediction for the southwest monsoon, and they said it's 103 LPA, long period average. In other words, they have predicted normal monsoon. They also made a statement in the SkyMet, there will not be any La Nina impact. What is La Nina? Is excess rain, which also not good. So in other words, from El Nino to La Nina to La Nino, they call Enso neutral. That's the kind of situation we are. So fortunately, we should receive good monsoon. And if that happens, which we saw the last year also good monsoon, this year good monsoon, I think that should really help the local economy. Another interesting thing which has happened from the RBI, one is that they talk about pushing in the liquidity, whatever needs to be done to infuse it, they will do that, number one. Point number two, they talked about, they reduced the 25 bips rate cut. But number three, they've shifted from neutral to accommodative, the policy stand. So let me explain you what does it mean actually, because a lot of people may not aware. It is my job, it's my duty to explain. So there are three kind of stand any central banks across the world can take. One is the accommodative, number two, tightening, and number three, neutral. The reason why RBI changed from neutral to account because they know that it's a rapidly changing global scenario does call for a accommodative. Why? Because the growth is a big concern across the world. So take it from here, the rate of interest can only come down. It cannot go up. Why? Because RBI has taken an accommodative step. So worst case, there may not be any rate hike. It can be no rate cut. It could be status quo, or you should expect more rate cuts coming in from the RBI. Of course, they will look at what is happening in the global tariff war, what is happening on the local economy, what is happening on the inflation. But there is only one movement that we can expect going forward is only cut, not the rate hike. So rate hike is out of the window. So that fear of rate hike is out of the window. Please take it from here. What is tightening? Tightening is nothing but to curb the economic activity. The RBI will basically hike the rate of interest, which it did when they thought that the inflation is running through the roof. They did that, and that's the reason we went to 6.5% near past. So tightening is out of picture. Neutral is that where the RBIs don't know what is going to happen. So basically, based on the economic data coming in, either they can hike or they can reduce the interest rate. So we have moved from neutral, which we are here, to we are basically moving to this one. So let me put it this way. From neutral, we are moving to the accommodative, and that's what the RBI has taken. So that's a very important step that we must all understand that. While inflation has been projected downward, the GDP also been projected downward. And now, which was previously estimated to 6.7, it has been brought down to 6.5%. I must tell you that these numbers are not sacrosanct. Depending upon what happens to the global tariff war, this number can be revised upward or can be revised downward. It is not cast in the stone that this number will get achieved. No way. So that's what the message. And of course, if you look at the data, where is the decline coming in? The first quarter, they say from 6.7, it will come down to 6.5. The second quarter, which was predicted to be 7%, that is in FIIs MPC meeting, it's been brought down to 6.7. But very surprisingly, quarter 3, which was predicted to be 6.5, will come down to 6.7. And the fourth quarter, that is April to March 2026, from 6.5, they brought it down to 6.3. And the process, which was expected to be 6.7, has come down to 6.5. Despite 6.5%, please note that this is the best, one of the highest growth in the world the Indian economy will have. So that's what has happened loud and clear. The message has come from the RBI. How is the RBI looking at the economy? The RBI is saying that agri sector is looking very good. In fact, one of the reasons, if you look at, we have some of the stocks in our portfolio which is agri related in our PMS. If you remember, Mohit and I came in front of you and we recommended some companies which are agri related because we believe at that point of the monsoon will be normal and it should. So RBI now is saying that because of healthy reservoir and good monsoon this year, agri sector is likely to do well. While manufacturing sector is showing some sign of revival, should not read too much. Why? Because of tariff war now. But services sector is showing some resilience. So in other words, we need manufacturing to basically fire. Otherwise, if service sector resilient is not a good scenario. It should be growing. Am I right? Number 3, RBI says demand in rural India is very, very healthy. But it also says there is a gradual uptick in the consumer demand, that's urban demand, especially in the discretionary spending. So that's another thing which has happened, but that's what RBI believes is happening. Shifting gears from India to the global, what is the RBI saying? RBI do admit that things are fast changing. It is very difficult to gauge the impact of the tariff wars, not only in India, but globally. You all know that US imposed tariff, China retaliated. Since China retaliated, US retaliated. Since US retaliated, China today retaliated again. I'll cover that little later in my presentation. So no one has a clear handle which direction we are all going. There are two big challenges the world economy is facing today. Uncertainty about the global growth and what impact it could have, this tariff war, on the inflation number. dollar is weakened, that we presented in one of our webinars, where rupee, which was the same as what it was there in the December 2024, we are same, almost the same level. Bond yields in the US have gone soft. Of course, it has again further gone up yesterday. But equity market across the world are facing a lot of headwinds. What I've really observed, that when today I was with one of the private equity players in the real estate, and he went to Ahmedabad market. Those who are from Ahmedabad, maybe they can say that they relate to it or they don't relate to it, maybe whatever they can say actually. And he was saying that माल बिका है रियल एस्टेट में, लेकिन collection is becoming difficult. So we are discussing, I'm telling you that when equity market does well, अगर आपका 5 crore का portfolio है ना, you may think of buying a house of 7 crore. But when the sentiments are down, even if you have 7 crores, you may think twice to buy even 5 crore house. And that's what the sentiment plays. So the RBI said in its policy action also, in the monetary policy, okay, because of sentiments are weak, and of course I have covered that in my subsequent slides, it does impact the people's willingness to spend money. And thus that does impact the demand outlook, and that does impact the growth outlook. Another good thing which has happened is that, or the bad thing or good thing, the way you look at it, each central banks are not working in unison. There's a completely divergent way the central banks are working. Some are hiking rates, some are maintaining status quo, some are reducing rate of interest. Each one is doing what is best for the local economy. जो synchronized action था, it's no longer been the case. RBI said 3 things for the impact of Tariff War. No businessman would like to put more money when there is uncertainty. आप capex करोगे, क्या के लिए करोगे? You don't know what the demand outlook is. Would you do a capex? The answer is no. So there is a delay in investment decision. And if you speak to the bankers, and I was talking with one of the branch manager of a State Bank of India, and he said, "Sab loan demand थोड़ा कम है." Domestic growth takes a beating because of uncertainty. आप खुद का भी देखो, lot of people would have seen their portfolio taking a beating by 30-35% since September 2024. Their ability to spend money has come down. You don't feel like spending money when your portfolio is not doing well, even though it's a notional. And at the same time, even if there's a notional gain, your ability to spend money goes up substantially. So that does impact the growth. And I think the exports are going to be the casualty. What we have done in our PMS, we have focused more on large cap. Those who are in our PMS customer, they can vouch for it. And we have focused more on the domestic theme rather than the companies whose fortunes are linked with the global growth. How is the world reacting to this tariff war? Because everyone would love to know about India. India is playing a very pragmatic way to do that. I think it's a very sensible way to do that. There is no knee-jerk reaction. There is no knee-jerk reaction. Behaving in the most matured manner one would expect it to do. Complete bilateral trade, no negative statement, no positive statement. They are saying we will negotiate bilateral trade. The way, of course, I could go wrong in my prediction. This is again my personal prediction. The whole process, I get a now sense is that India could be the beneficiary rather than at a disadvantage because of tariff war. And I'll explain you why I believe so. There's a logical reasoning behind that. Crude oil has come down, crude oil prices have come down, which benefits India. Why? Because we import 90% of the crude. When crude is down, inflation is down. When crude is down, your rupees, there is no pressure on the rupee. When there is no pressure on the rupee, inflation is down, RBI has all the reason to cut the rate of interest. Number 2, while other Asian economies, emerging markets are more focused on the export side of the business, India is more domestic driven because of a strong population that we have. And due to that, the tariff impact, if at all is going to be there, it would be less. वो वोडाफोन का मालूम है एडवर्टाइजमेंट आता था. Someone is trying to that what was that character called जो कार्टून का था, हाँ, Voodoo, हाँ, okay, Voodoo, okay. You know, he would go and he would try to do suicide kind of stuff because उसका पैसा चला गया, and then he suddenly get a message on his mobile कि किसी और का बहुत ज़्यादा गया, and he abandoned that idea of suicide. So this is something very simple. We will also get impacted, no doubt about it, but others will get more impacted than us, and that could make India the compelling story even for the foreigners to come and invest in India. Because we are domestic driven, the balance sheet of India is non-leverage. In fact, that's what even RBI governor said today. Today morning when I was discussing, it's the same thing because this time India is not leverage. You look at India's topmost business houses, which matters, in the overall scheme of things, they are not at all leverage. And whatever leverage that they are still manageable. So most probably India could be the beneficiary of this tariff war than the adversaries of this tariff war. So let's look at what happened. The China. We all know China was the first one to retaliate. China said 34% retaliation. It did not go well with the Trump. It hurt his ego. He put 104 tariff. And today, I don't know how many are aware, but China retaliated further, now taking the import from US 84%. 84%. These are practically not sustainable. You cannot compete with 84 and 104% levy on either side. Either you trade or you don't trade. As simple as that. If there is no one budge actually, practically the goods and services between these two countries trade will come to standstill. किसी धंधे में इतना मार्जिन नहीं होता कि तुम 84%, 104% कट करो. Even if you take some beating, how much can you take the beating in your margin? I think this is a nice way to say we do not want trade with you. Both the parties are saying. Now this is not sustainable. If you ask me and again my personal opinion, this is not sustainable. Somewhere there will be a middle path. Yes, right now it's a question of who blinks first. Everyone, both the countries have their own egos. I think they will to find a way out. Otherwise, there is no way the US is willing to import from China at 84%. In China would not be comfortable importing at 104%. The China would not be happy, exporting the goods to the US with 104%. No way. Some of the smaller countries seems to be more kind of a conciliatory mood, They want negotiation. They've given some offer that like Taiwan, country like Taiwan has said, okay, we will remove some tariff on US products. Please provide some leeway. The local country has given, the Taiwanese has given some support to the local companies to survive on this tariff war. And I think I'm so sure the government will also announce that in due course of time, depending upon how our bilateral trade or talk goes with the US. Bangladesh has no other choice, and in fact I made a statement also. It's requested to please post for next 3 months this tariff, which looks unlikely at this point of time, but you never know what Trump can do actually. That Bangladesh has given a clear-cut signal they are willing to buy more US goods, cotton for the manufacturing of textile products, wheat, and the energy. So somewhere Bangladesh understand if they don't, if the biggest export or the biggest employment is textile manufacturing. If that becomes uncompetitive, because India do have advantage, because China, Bangladesh used to have zero import duty previously on the textile, and India was not. So India used to get penalized because of tariff. So we were not competitive enough. With 37% versus 26%, India is in a much favorable position. Of course, we don't have that kind of a capacity. Let's be very frank about it. So I think that's what has happened. So I think smaller countries are succumbing to the US pressure. Vietnam, something very similar story to narrate about it. Thailand, very similar story to narrate about it. Japan has basically now wants to do a bilateral trade, a talk with the US. I think I'm hopeful that it will materialize. How is the market behaved last week? Only one sector is in grain, called Nifty FMCG. Relative outperformance has been seen in consumption, MNC, Bank Nifty, Nifty Finance, CPSC, PSU Bank, and all like Sensex and Nifty fallen by almost 4%, and mid and small cap by 6% or so. And the metal is a worst performing sector because of expected slowdown in the global economy. When you look at the YTD, Nifty Finance is on the grain only index. Bank Nifty is outperformed, Nifty FMCG outperformed, Nifty Infra outperformed. Why? Because Nifty and Sensex both are down by more than 5%, while you remember, go back to our presentation prediction, 3 sectors that will do well. One was the banks, NBFCs, FMCG, and the infra and capital goods. And that's what till now it's giving you that. Till today, I think these are the sectors which are outperforming versus the broader market. The Nifty 500 is down by 9%, and mid and small cap 15% to 20% kind of a scenario. So do you expect more relief in this? My answer is no. If you happen to have mid and small cap in your portfolio and you're not convinced of the story, please use the next rise in these companies as an opportunity to make an exit. In our PMS, 92% is into large cap. And again that we are more focused on the domestic theme. How is the Indian market done? Date from 52-week high as compared to global. Nikkei is down by 25% from its 52-week high. Nasdaq is down by 24%. South Korea 21%. S&P 500 19%. Italy 18%. Germany 16%. While India Nifty 50 is down from its all-time 52-week high is 15%. Of course, Mexico did better, China did better, Spain did better, Canada did better, but not so much. So I think there is a broad-based rally, and many indices across the world are giving up gains in double digit from after touching the 52-week high. FIIs, in January they sold much, they reduced in the month of Feb, they further reduced in the month of March, but the trend got reversed in April. They sold now 27,000 crore. Somewhere, that hope that they become a net buyers in India is not coming true. Again, someone would ask me, so let me preempt that question. Do we still believe that FPI would be net buyers in 2025? My answer is yes. My answer is yes, that FPI will be net buyers in 2025. With this, let's open the floor for question answer. Nirmal sir is saying US Treasury bonds are being held by many countries in big volume. Countries like China, Japan, Germany, France, Canada, Saudi Arabia, total investment about $10 trillion. All these countries announced their willingness to sell the investment in the US did not reverse the tariff decision within next few days. What would happen full-blown sell-off after the Tariff War? So we need to all ask a question. Suppose if they sell this, where would they put their money? Is there an alternate assets class which is available to park the funds? I don't know. To be very honest with you, I don't know. 10 trillion is not a small amount. So where are they going to park these funds? I have no idea. It will not be easy. When you do panic the kind of a stuff, you are basically creating own problem for yourself. Am I right? Suppose if you have 1 crore portfolio and you start selling aggressively 10 lakhs, which impacts your balance 90 lakhs, would you do that? You will not do that. Am I right? I think they will be sensible enough. But as I told you, the situations are quite fluid. No one has a clear-cut handle. Forget about me. I'm basically nobody. But when RBI governor says, when our external affairs minister said, Jai Sarkar said, they is limited, very difficult to gauge the impact. I think we need to wait and watch. There are a lot of stories will keep floating around. Someone sent a message on social media, I don't know how far it is true, that one particular country want to take out all the gold which has been parked in the US to their respective country. I don't know how far it is true. One of the simplest way to play, and in fact I should have covered that, sorry I did not cover, how should you play this tariff war? Simply, if you are weak-hearted, stay away. Don't watch TV channel. Don't keep yourself updated with tariff war, because every day things are changing. जो अपने आज पर आए कल फोक हो सकता है, और जो कल नहीं था वो परसों हो सकता है. That's kind of an uncertain environment we are living in. If you really are courageous, you can understand the volatility, you can accept the volatility, you can stomach the volatility. Please use this dip in the markets to build portfolios. But this is not the market to exit. आप कितने भी fearful हो, this is not the market to exit. And I would be more happy when more experts comes on TV channel and say, this is what happened, this will happen. They create more gloom and doom kind of scenario. The day that happens, that's the time you should realize that we have formed the bottom. I hope that answers your question, sir. Nimal, sir. D. Kumar, how the trade war going to unfold going ahead, keeping in view that reciprocal tariff by US has destroyed the WTO order? So there is nothing called WTO now. In fact, China, if you read the statement that was issued by China today, they are saying that there is nothing called. How is it going to unfold, sir? I have no clue at all. Because things are changing minutes to minutes, hour to hour, day to day. How do we basically gauge the impact? And again I said, Kumar sir, it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's a very multi-dimensional thing. It's not unidimensional, and that could create a lot of problem. So that's why I don't have an idea. I said 3 things. If you are fearful, stay away. If you are courageous, put more money in the market. But this is not the time to get exit from the market. As simple as that. Krishna Rajan sir, any directional guidance about the market for next 12 months? Sir, my personal opinion, market from this level would be substantially higher if I have to again come in April 2026. Have we changed our view on equity outlook that I made in January? Positive gain on Nifty 50? The answer is no. We have not changed. We continue to believe market will give positive returns even in 2025. Yes, medium small cap looks challenging, which we maintained that time also, we are maintaining now also. Shreyas is saying, I have a Bajaj Housing Finance says, how do you see the impact of recent news and RBI cut? Shreyas sir, your question is very beautiful, very apt. Sir, I don't discuss company specific in my webinar. I'm a little surprised why Amir picked up your question. I think, does he knows you, that's why he picked up, or does he like you, that's why he picked up a question. Normally we don't discuss, I don't discuss. Please use Markets Mojo Score, it's available. Based on the score, you please take a view on that. I did mention one thing. I don't know whether you heard or not, you heard me or not. Heard until you listened to that statement or not, that real estate there is a slowdown, number one. Whatever sales you did, when you ask the builders asking for money, there is a delay in terms of making payment. So that gives you some idea about what's happening in the real estate sector, which in turn could have an impact on the housing finance company. I'm not referring to one particular company. I'm giving you more sectoral theme here. But please use Markets Mojo Score to take a call on this. आमिर भाई तूने सवाल कैसे ले रही है? Sagar, Namaste sir, please pick up my question as I am asking from last 5-6 webinars, but never picked up. That's very unfair. I keep on asking why three metal stocks given in my portfolio, the weightage of the metal sector in my portfolio 15, 25, 25, 35. It is risky as it's global connected and you were never bullish on metal sector in equity outlook 2020. And risk of metal sector is showing portfolios, metal stocks in portfolio are down 30-40%. Now triggered from highs also not triggered to cut the loss. So now please advise me, we need to exit or can we review my portfolio again please? Sagar sir, I know which company you are referring to. There's one company that you have from the metal space is going for the business restructuring. That should help you. Two different companies, both are aluminum related. The reason it's not exited our master list purely because we do believe that these two companies should be able to weather the downturn well. But for some reason, we believe that these companies will not perform well, will exit also. Right now, they continue to remain, and we are aware about that. We have taken a conscious call because it has not been triggered based on our IP to exit from that. So even they become a hold, they still not become an exit criteria, they will not hit our exit criteria to move out of that. That's the reason you continue to hold these companies. I hope, and Sagar sir, my apology, you have been asking this question for the last 5-6 webinars. We could not pick up. I don't know why it was not picked up. But please feel free to keep asking your question. It's our duty and our obligation to respond to your questions. Satish sir, US business oriented textile stock India should have tailwind. With Bangladesh issue and tariff war, will it be a tailwind? No sir, not necessarily. Suppose tomorrow Bangladesh says, we are willing to accept all terms and conditions of US. 0 to 0. That's what European Union also suggested, am I right? Then again the Bangladesh product will become cheaper. So as I told you, it's a very developing story, sir. What happens, who acts what, how it acts, what happens. It's very, very dynamic. I happened to speak to one of the exporters of textile garment, and he told me very clearly, he lives in my building only, not in my building, my complex. He told me loud and clear, order थोड़ा कम हो गया है, बंद हो गया है, कम क्या हो गया, बंद हो गया है. It's completely suspension of order. So I don't think it's a tailwind. Don't read too much between the lines right now. I again, harp on this. Luckily, सवाल है कोई बात नहीं आमिर. I again keep saying, right now your focus should not be on the companies which are into exports. Right now your focus should be companies which are focused on domestic theme. Please play that as a story rather than this. Akash, previously you have said that Mojo Score falls below 16, prices falling, bearish technical. I assume we should exit. Is it good idea to do that in current market scenario, even if that means booking losses more than 10%, 20%? Yeah, sir, that's not a bad idea. And I never meant a bearish technical. I said if the script is falling in last 1 month or so, and 1 week, 1 month, a day, and the score is below 60, please make an exit. And booking loss is a good thing. Booking loss is not a, you should not feel ashamed to that I book losses. It's a good thing. Water the witch, cut the flowers. Completely ulta. Water the flowers, cut the weeds actually. So that's what you should do it actually, Akashji. Please do that. But if that company is a part of a model portfolio, please wait for our advice. Bhavesh, what is the reason for prediction of January 2000 rate cut? Sorry, Bhavesh, what is the reason for the prediction in January 2000 rate cut? Okay, what were the reasons why we predicted rate cut? Couple of things, sir. If you go back, we did mention that inflation will come under control. We did mention that growth will get little subdued. And that's exactly what is happening. And of course, we were not expecting Tariff War to be so severe. But we did believe that there will be a inflation because of good monsoon, because of commodity prices coming down. And that's the reason we predicted for the rate cuts from the RBI. RBI did not did it. 2024 did not oblige. Even when Fed did it, RBI did not do it. And it's all the more that it was prime for rate cuts. And that's exactly what has happened. if I understood your question right, because the way you drafted, I understood this is the way I think you wanted to ask me. Yeah. Frank is saying, Trump says, be cool. This is a great time to buy. What do you say? I also believe great time to buy, but not the US stocks, but the Indian stocks. And remain calm and cool. If you have remained calm and cool during COVID time, which was worst, because we had financial crisis, we have health crisis. Now the health crisis in the world has not come to standstill. You and me are going to office. All other activities are happening. अगर कोविड में कुछ बिगड़ नहीं सका अपना तो अभी क्या तकलीफ है? And I can tell you, Frank sir, in July no one will ask me anything about tariff war. 3 महीने सब लोग भूल जाएंगे आप लोग. You don't invest in the equity market for 3 months. I agree with Trump on this and be cool. Even though weather is very harsh, remain calm and cool. I said, again I repeat for the benefit of everyone who must have joined late, 3 choice you have. If markets volatility bothers you, please stay away. Don't do anything. If you are courageous, please put more money. Number 3, do not sell in this market out of panic. Vinit, just in the news, EU announces retaliatory tariff. Oh, I'm not aware, sir. But is it the case? So what is the retaliatory? So I think, as I told you, it's a very developing story, sir. That's why I'm saying it's extremely difficult to understand what is happening and what is not happening. Sir, I don't know where you read this because I'm not able to get in on Wall Street Journal. I'm in Wall Street Journal right now, and it's not saying anything. Okay, let me see what is news. Maybe kya hai? Live updates. This is the moment of truth. Republican, Walmart. Simple but true. Oat recession hit 70% betting markets. Kali. No, sir. I don't think. Okay, I'm not able to see. Let me see. Economist. Let me see Reuters. Okay, Reuters may be the one. 1 second, sir. No, sir. I don't know, sir, where you got it. So it says US to start retaliating against the US tariff on Tuesday, which has come 29 before. But I don't think it has happened yet. It's not coming, sir. So I think we need to wait and watch. Okay, we need to wait and watch. It's just that they are likely to do it. It has not been announced yet. Bhargavi, the additional burden of tariff on India will be 1.4 billion, that is 12,000 crore approximate. This should be meager amount that should be not affect our economy as the exports to US is 2% of GDP, 26%, it should be 52% of GDP by your insert place. Sir, I don't know data whether it's a 12,000 crore or not. See again, we are all making a basic error. We are only looking at the direct impact. There is so much indirect impact that we need to remember which we're going to have. And hence, I would not like to go into that number crunching to come to, because I really don't know. When RBI governor says he doesn't know, when external affairs minister he doesn't know, who am I and who are you to basically come to this kind of a conclusion, that impact would be minimal. Again, I said it's not a very unidimensional thing, it's a multidimensional thing. There are a lot of permutations, combinations that's going to play out, and that's going to decide what kind of impact India will have. Please, please, please request to every one of you, neither you have enough data points, nor you will have enough understanding about what's happening globally. Please don't go into that direction also to think that yes, you will be able to predict it. Chaudhary, as per economy's domestic demand, why not so much panic in the equity market? सर हमारे कहावत है गुजराती में, सूखा साथी लीलू भरे. When the sentiments go bad, everyone wants to get out of it. Okay, and then something similar happening with Indian market. Today, okay, let me put it this way. So if you look at domestic driven, the sector which are domestic driven, they have done well. Let me show you this again. So if you look at it, can you see my this one? Nifty FMCG is growing, sir. Nifty consumption is still relatively outperformed. Bank Nifty again in consumption story, domestic story up, less down, 2.6, 2.16 only. Nifty Finance 2.49 only. While the others have down by, like PSU Bank, again, it's a domestic driven. Sensex is down by 4%, Nifty is down by 4%. So they are relatively outperforming. But yes, when the sentiment goes bad, it does impact the sentiment, and that does impact the market volatility, and that's exactly what has happened. The people, those who got out, are the same people will come back in 3 months down the line, and they will buy. Rajiv, as we are going through this discussion, the markets of US have opened in green, just like yesterday. However, we all know that what happened in the later half. How do you perceive this opening today, especially the impact of US economy industries along with China is also upping the hand? Sir, I'm not a experts to predict what will happen in 1 day, 1 week or 1 month. You go back to my presentation of January 2025. I repeat, India would do better than the US in 2025. Indian equity market will give you higher returns in dollar terms in 5 years period. Again, I repeat, in dollar terms, after adjusting for depreciation. So my point is, don't focus. आपका कितना exposure राजीव sir US market में? Focus on domestic story, focus on large cap, and you should be fine. Whether there is a tariff war, not tariff war, there is retaliation, no retaliation, I think you should be relatively fine. Okay, I'll explain you what I did actually. I got out of one company because I thought this company may not give me the capital appreciation. That proceed I use in the FMCG. Just to understand, because I'm convinced about the consumption theme, domestic. See, a couple of factors are playing out for the sector. Number one, the crude oil price. Number two, some revival in the consumption story. And number three, I think the volume and the pricing power will slowly start coming back. And of course, with the crude oil price coming down, with the 1 lakh crore, which is a rebate which is coming in, people ability to purchasing will go up. With rate of interest coming down, people EMI installment will come down, and that will means more money in the hands of the people. That could spur a consumption cycle. So that's why I believe that should be done. So I think that's the way you should look at it. Paras sir, as per your view, when will we start our portfolio building? What are the things to keep in mind? So you have to start building now. You don't have to wait for the right time. There is nothing called right time, or there is nothing coming to the perfection. It's practically impossible. What are the things to keep in mind? Two things, simple. Focus on domestic theme and focus on large cap. Simple formula. That's exactly what we are doing in our PMS. Jaya Prakash, what is the view on certain sectors like defense, energy and railways? The defense, we do own one of the company from the defense in our PMS because we believe that company should do well. But overall, we are not so bullish. Energy, again, we are not so bullish. And railways, again, I think still there's a more pain left. So I would not be very in a rush to buy even railway stocks. China plan is not working for India. Bangera sir is saying whether the Indian government is prepared to take advantage of China plus phenomena or whether it's the right time to churn our portfolio. Please churn your portfolio if the business is more dependent on the international market. But the company's domestic theme, please don't churn the portfolio. I think it's a little unfair to say China plus one is not working out. It is working out. See, we because of this, we are all living in a T20 world, am I right? Everyone wants instant gratification. There are certain things you do which plays out in a very structural manner over a medium to long term. But you need to put a backbone, you need to put a what we call foundation, and that foundation has been laid of China +1. So I believe it's a little too early to say that we have not taken advantage of this. And this retaliatory tariff between US and China is only going to make India much more stronger. Vasudevan sir is saying, how long will there be a noise of the tariff war in the market? Maximum 2 months. June, as I said, in July, you people are not going to ask me about tariff war. That's a clear-cut signal that there is no noise of tariff in this. Please record this, and if it doesn't happen, please write back to us saying that Sunil Damania को ये वीडियो दिखा देना उसने क्या प्रेडिक्ट किया था. Nagarajan sir, hello sir, how are you? Please suggest if correct time to invest in FMC and banking sector. My answer is please sir, invest it. I said I also invested in FMCG. I do have exposure to the banking. In our PMS we do have banks and finance, substantial portion. Please do that. Satya sir, what are you likely economic impact of the European Union 23 general tariff? US goods in response to the US administration imposed 25 tariff on import steel and when while has the US rejected the US 0 to 0 tariff approach? It looks like they've rejected because Trump yesterday said that 0 for 0 doesn't look very practical. I don't know this 23 billion tariff has already kicked in or not kicked in. I'm not updated on that. But as I again said, sir, there is nothing is cast on in the stone. These are developing stories. There are no things can change tomorrow. So that kind of a scenario we are living. So hence don't take your investment decision because you can't keep changing your strategy daily basis. कि आज ये है कल बेनिफिट है परसों बेनिफिट नहीं है काइंड ऑफ स्टफ एंड यूएस countermeasures will be implemented in stages. The first tariff is scheduled to take off from 15th April followed by additional rounds 15th and December. Sir, again this dates can get preponed, postponed, not at all. Like we all talk about US soft landing, hard landing and no landing. Something similar can happen in this kind of a tariff war also. Either no landing or soft landing or hard landing, as simple as that. My request to all of you, we are all obsessed with this tariff war. I am giving you a simple mantra. Focus on domestic and focus on large cap. You should be fine. क्या होगा tariff war का, then you do not bother also much about it. And we give you 3 sectors also. मैं ये भी नहीं कि नहीं बताया आपको. FMCG, banks and finance, and capital goods infra. Simple. Play this theme and you should be fine. क्या होता है? We have got a habit of getting too much analysis, and analysis creates paralysis. जब आपको किसी ने खाना पिरोस के दे दिया हुआ है, आप क्यों नहीं करना चाहते उसको? Why you want to complicate your investment journey? Keep it simple and you should be fine. We are there to help you in that. RB sir, for those who are sitting on the fence to take a call, if this is the time to invest, please guide on what correct approach for entry, whether one should take PMS approach or for mutual fund, take the model portfolio approach. Also, is it possible to do a webinar on how the markets Mojo PMS is performing? So we can share the data to you how we are doing. In fact, in last 1 month when there has been a lot of turmoil, I am happy to inform you that we outperformed the benchmark. But having said that, yes, there are challenges. Like in 6 months, we are actually underperforming by 200 to 300 bips versus the benchmark in 6 months period. What is the right approach? Is all the function of what is the risk appetite. We have PMS strategy which is a little aggressive. Those who can stomach volatility, they should come to us. Those who think, no, I can't stomach the volatility, but I want market returns only, go for mutual fund. Those who want to model portfolio is better approach come to mutual fund because mutual fund may perform in line with the benchmark. Model portfolio will outperform the benchmark and PMS will significantly outperform the benchmark. So depending upon your risk appetite, what you wish to do. If you have 5 years time horizon, I would request you to come to our PMS. Jayan sir, namaste. So thanks for your excellent insights. What are the Indian sectors will do impact due to Vietnam zero tariff to the US? Is Vietnam an electronic exporters? Also, last time I had asked why the UK pound is strengthening in Virginia. I noticed that some cases euro also. Oh, sorry. Yes, I remember, sir. You had asked me, but I'm not able to. It just slipped my mind. Vietnam zero. I think Vietnam is very strong in terms of textiles. I don't think they are very very strong in terms of electronic exports. I don't think that we will have too much impact there. But definitely textile, definitely there will be an impact. So if they make it zero, and that's something also asked me about Bangladesh, and I said the similar thing. So there's an impact. And UK pound strengthening versus, and I have really, I need to really look at it. It slipped my mind, sir. I'll let me check on that. Venu, does the RBI strip on gold loans today? Most of the gold lending bank and down. What will be the effect on long-term NBFC's banking sector? So, sir, this guidelines has been proposed. People will give their comments on this guideline, proposed guideline. You are right. Some of the NBFCs that did come under pressure, and one of the leading loan against gold was down by 10% at one point of time. And of course, it's closed at about 6.5% or so. We need to wait and watch what impact it could have. First thing, we don't know what the policy action would be. It just they floated the discussion paper. People will give comment. Once that comment has been given, then I will decide what needs to be done. So it's a little time consuming. Yes, right now it has impacted the market. Having said that, we do have one of the gold loan company in our portfolio. Have we exited? Answer is no. So I hope that gives you an answer, Venu sir. No more question? Hai? Okay. Sondarajan, US stocks traded in volatile fashion on Wednesday morning after China announced more reciprocal tariff on US goods, intensifying the trade war between the two largest economies in the world and heightening the fears of global recession. Do you think global recession is in the offing? There is a possibility, no doubt about it. I don't think anyone, it's a foolish not to say that, it's foolish to say that there will not be a recession, because these are things are developing. There is a possibility it can happen, but right now that possibility is very low. There is a possibility, but possibility is very low at this point of time. I think some senses will prevail. Some people will come on discussion table. There will be something, and there will be a give and take situation. Because ये फाइट में किसका भला नहीं होने वाला है. अगर किसका भला नहीं हो रहा, तो somewhere this common sense will prevail and see that okay, let me cool down, let me not retaliate so aggressively, and others party will also appreciate, and there will be a middle path that would be found. So right now, global recession probability is low. Yes, probability is there, but of that happening, the possibility is very, very low. Shreyas, thanks for your response to my earlier question. I joined the webinar for the first time, so I was not aware that we don't talk about stock specific. I'll make sure that next time, would you please clarify what is your view on the paint industry given the recent drop in oil prices? So Shreyas sir, there is heavy competition within the paint industry. One of the new incumbent player is pushing the product very hard manner. We don't know how successful it would be. And see, the business like paint is also a function of the sentiment in the economy. Paint is not an extreme necessity. अगर आपका मूड खराब है, आपको पैसा खर्चने का मूड नहीं, you will may postpone your paint decision by 3 months, 6 months. Real estate is little slow down, so that could be another delay there. Industrial activity में paint जाता है. If industrial activity slows down, then there is an impact. I am not very comfortable. Despite lower crude oil price, should I be happy to buy paint company? My answer is no. And understand, sir, yes, sir, don't worry. Since it was your first time you asked that question, no problem. In fact, I was surprised. You are first time, but Amir is not moderating first time. In fact, he's been doing for many years, and yet he picked up your question. That surprised me. So does PMS market accept corporate 30 lakhs? No, sir. Sir, forget about us. No PMS in the country can accept 30 lakhs corpus. SEBI guidelines says the corpus has to be 50 lakhs. It's also, they don't allow that you start with 30 lakhs with the promise that I will add additional 20 lakhs little later. That's also not. I cannot start buying and selling in your portfolio unless I have a 50 lakhs in your portfolio. It's a SEBI guidelines. We cannot break that guideline, sir. Even if I wish I could take you on board, sir, I will not be able to take you on board. Vikram Singh, there are only 8 Mojo stocks today. Are they the best companies in the entire spectrum? If this can relation of worthy stock, this all must be multi-baggers going forward. In the current scenario, these are the best stocks available from our side. Will they all be multi-baggers? Answer is no. Some will do well, some will not do well. See, the problem हमारा क्या मालूम है? हमको every stock want to be multi-bagger हमको चाहिए. वो वॉरेन बफेट बेचारा बोल के थक गया कि you should find yourself lucky if you get one multi-bagger in 6 years. One multi-bagger in 6 years. और आपको 8 multi-bagger in 1 year ही चाहिए. सर नहीं होगे सब. आई एम टेलिंग यू अपफ्रंट. आई डोंट वांट टू गिव यू रॉन्ग होप कि हाँ एवरीवन वुड बी मल्टी-बैगर एंड इफ इट डजंट हैपन देन यू फील डिजेक्टेड. Mayank, please guide on con call what to read in important function to carry on the company. So 2 things, very simple con call में मैं क्या देखता हूँ? What is the management commentary on the future outlook? Are they optimistic? Of course, you have to be a little realistic. Sometimes the management job is to be optimistic. So you need to relate the numbers. Number 1. Number 2, is company doing any foolish thing in terms of capital allocation? कि ये धंधा करा अभी दूसरा बिजनेस में डाल रहा पैसा एंड द पुअर कैपिटल एलोकेशन इज डूइंग, प्लीज स्टे अवे फ्रॉम दैट. 2 चीज देखना है. कौन सा? आउटलुक एंड द कैपिटल एलोकेशन. बाकी कुछ चीज नहीं भी देखोगे आप चलेगा. Sabari Thampi, any result out? What do you think will be the upcoming result for the last quarter? Good, bad, or ugly? Sir, I did mention, Sabari sir, that we don't expect March numbers to be very great. We all need to wait and listen to the commentary. Is India Inc. looking forward? And of course, if you ask me now, even they would not have a handle on that. It's so uncertain time. आप कैसे बोलोगे कि मेरा इंडस्ट्री अच्छा चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा? I think the commentary also looks like a very subdued only. So don't expect great numbers for March 2025. And I think it's there in the price. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि वो प्राइस में नहीं है. Last 2 questions in the interest of the time. Ragis, how is the market going to be in next 6 months? So my sense is that first half is going to be a little challenging. Second half we should see some gain. So what I'm trying to say is that by December 2025, when I speak to you again, we should be higher than what right now the level we are in. I must tell you, our head of technology is also Ragis. Vinay, do you believe that hefty tariffs could pose a risk to the company that manufactures Apple products in China? Yes, definitely, sir. Additionally, how do you foresee these tariffs affecting electronic manufacturing services company in India? I don't think they will get impacted too much. On the contrary, I think they would be beneficiary if for some reason the rates remain where they are. But as I told you, it's a very dynamic situation when it's very difficult to say for surety कि यही होगा. So I think 2 questions थे, हो गए? Okay, in the interest of the time, I would like to conclude this webinar. Thanks a lot, everyone. Given a very short notice, you people could come enjoy this webinar. On next Thursday, I'm in front of our PMS customer. There are only 3 working days next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tuesday we'll have stock of the week. Wednesday we may have a Mojo 1 strategy, and Thursday I'm in front of this one. And again, 1 week after that, again I will come in front of all our customers. Till such time, good night, take care.